Good morning and welcome to ER Emotional Response. This is Life Coach with Ivory. Hi, good morning. I'm really excited and pumped this morning and nervous at the same time. I got one of my closest friends that's going to be my special guest today, my first guest on the podcast. But it places significance in her speaking at this time because Mother's Day is on its brink. And I just want to impart some truths to not just females, but also males, and knowing the significance in a woman in 2018 being a wife, a mother, and working. She carries all three hats successfully. Her husband is still deeply, madly in love with her. She works on every week, nonstop. She's always picking up extra days of working. And then she's a successful mother and making sure her kids eat and are tended to emotionally and mentally. So I would like y'all to give a warm welcome to my dear friend, and also a leader in her community, Aleatheia Rahman.
Oh, thank you for having me, Ivory. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, you're a wife, a mother, and a working woman.
I am.
How do you feel about those roles?
Well, I don't know how to really explain it. It's just something that you do. But you have to love to do it. So to me, it's just a part of my daily life. Like, we breathe every day, so you don't really think about it. So I wake up, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, and I go to work. So it's part of my daily routine, my daily way of living. So
you would say it is you.
It's me. Yep.
It's not something that you take off or take on. It's all of you, all encompassing.
Yes. And I think that's what everybody in life, when you go through different seasons, like this is my season now. Like, we had the season where I was single and I was a corporate woman, and I just did that.
Right.
And now this is a different season, and now I'm a mother and I'm a wife. So this is my new role. So you kind of just, you take it on and you do it.
Did you have anyone that set that example for you to make you look at it as at the level of importance that you look at it? Did you have anybody that set that example for you?
My mother.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say my mom. She was an awesome stay-at-home mom, and she worked with my father when they ran their businesses together. And she was just great. I never thought I would be a mother, but when it did, because it wasn't like, I wasn't one of those women where I had it planned out. You know, some women are like, I'm going to get married at this age, I'm going to have kids. I didn't see it that way. I just kind of went with the flow of whatever I was doing, and then it happened. I said, well, this is the way God intended it. It happened. But when I had that role, when I became that mother, I just thought about her. I was like, you know what? She was a great mom. I could do this too. So, and that's one of the things that keeps me going. So,
just remembering how she is and how she was. That's decent. Now, it's two things that come to mind when you say that. You had to prepare as a female to prepare for, like, going into that new transition, right? And then it's the second part where once you got married, you had to transition into being a part of someone else's life. How did you manage both of those emotionally?
I think having that point in my life where I was able to find me and experience myself, that singlehood, right, and that living on my own and have my own apartment and enjoying that time, I think that prepares people. It makes you a better person for someone else. If that's, in your cards, you want to be a significant other to someone, you need to understand yourself. Okay. Don't get me wrong, some people can go from being at their parents or high school, marry their sweetheart, and just it flows with them. It's always with somebody. But I think what helped me was actually having the time to experience myself. And then I was able to, you find out more when you're around your friends or you have different situations. I had a roommate, so I was able to see what it was like to live with someone. They were able to tell me my flaws that I didn't see. And I think that it prepared me as a wife.
Okay.
And that's me personally. Everybody's different, like I said. But me personally, I'm glad that I had that break. And then once I met my husband, and then we had our, I guess you want to call it courting or whatever time before we got married and we dated, and we got to know each other, it didn't feel like I was bombarded from parents to spouse. I had me time. So I think that it helped me. So it doesn't I feel like I'm not this wife like, God, I wonder what it feels like to party. I did that.
Right.
I had that time. I wonder what it feels like to be able to come home and just be in a quiet house by yourself. Because you imagine going from your parents and then home with a bunch of kids, I would be insane.
Right.
I wouldn't know, oh God, that quiet time, that time to yourself. So being able to experience life as just a single woman and myself and enjoy the things I wanted to do prepared me better to be a spouse.
So it would be almost like you're suggesting that a female needs that period of time coming from out of the teenage years to adulthood to actually get to know herself emotionally and mentally before she can even think about something serious.
I recommend it. When I talk to some young ladies, even my sister, and I'm like, I know you're in college and then you went back home and you want to stay there. And then if you meet someone and then you're just going to go from taking care of your grandparents or whatever you're doing, and then you're going to go right to being a spouse. And people don't understand it, but it's a wonderful experience, but it's also a job in itself.
Right.
So I think even guys do this, they should do the same thing, but I do recommend that you enjoy life yourself before you sign up with this significant other, because the two become one. I guess you and him. Right. You can't be like, you know what? I really need this space this weekend. Can you leave the house? You may not have that, but you want to at least have that time to yourself so you don't have to look back and say, I wish I traveled, or I wish I did this, or because you don't know what'll happen in life. So I definitely recommend that we as young women find ourselves first. Don't look for a man to discover us, and you need to be with someone to enjoy life. Do that on your own first.
Yeah.
I think it'll make you feel better. It'll make you be better. So yeah, I do. I recommend it.
That's awesome. Now I had the privilege to be in the front row seat of seeing you go through that transition.
Yes.
And on the behind the scene thing, I don't think I knew the steps that it took for you to be a successful wife. Like you just, once you transitioned into being a wife, you just was a wife. I didn't see you say, well, I'm this, I'm that. No, I'm a wife now. How did you handle that? What helped you to claim that and live through it, that title? Because I think sometimes in society, I mean, especially with the high rate of divorce, some people are just enjoying the wedding day, and they're preparing for that day, but not preparing for
their life together.
And their role as a wife.
Yeah, I think that is a big issue in today's times. But I was blessed to have watched my parents. And I think that their situation, and if some people don't have that, they have grandparents, but it's somewhere in your family, and some people don't have it, unfortunately. But seeing my parents and or even having another couple that actually demonstrates in sickness and in health till death do you part. Like you said, people really sign up. They cannot wait for this elaborate wedding day.
Right.
You know, and they have everybody has this dance they're coming into, and everything is so exciting. And then you spending all this money, and then it's really just for that day, and that's wonderful. I don't want to take that from any woman or man. If you want to have that, go for it. But in the long run, that day ends. It's only for a few hours.
Right.
And now you're home with this person. So you want to make sure that, and it's a learning experience every day. You learn something new about each other and what your role is as a husband and a wife. But me seeing my parents, and they lived up to the vows. People now, I don't think they're just saying it at the weddings.
Right.
It's really a lot. Like, you really, the way it was written, and it's like, and I'm a believer, so you'll hear me say, if God wrote it that way, He wrote it for a reason. He means that. Like, you really need to understand what it's saying. Like, in sickness and in health, some people won't stay with your spouse if you get sick. That's not the way it's supposed to go.
That's true.
Like, you're not boyfriend and girlfriend. I mean, that's sad too, but you know, financially, all of that, till death do you part. And seeing my parents, they went through, I mean, life in general, they had some really hard trials, but they actually stuck in there. So they exhibited that love.
Right.
And they stood by the vows. But I think in order to stand by the vows, you really do have to genuinely love each other.
Yeah. Do you think you could be a wife without that example? If you never saw the example?
I think, like I said, some people don't have it, but you're able to do it. And I think what'll help you is that time by yourself. And also having people in your circle, like the right people in your circle. I had great friends. You is one. And I had aunts and uncles, and then outside people that, you know, became our family that we see, you know. So if you have, people need to surround themselves. If you have that family, some people have broken families. I get it. But if you do have it, then you have to surround yourself in a healthy circle. Okay. You have to be around healthy people, change your environment, you know, so that you have opportunity to see that there is a such thing as a happy marriage. Because nowadays you talk to some people, they don't even believe it. Like, it cannot be. Like, people look back, what was this show in our time? Was the Cosby Show?
Yeah.
And people look back like that never existed. No, they really did. There are really families like that. There's no way it was families like that, especially African American. No, really.
No, really did.
Yeah,
might have had a belt involved.
But those two parents were there.
They were there.
Both were working. Yeah, we even sat down. We had a dining room table. Some people were like, really?
Ate dinner
together. And it's sad that some people really don't. They don't have that example in their own situation. So that is, I think that's at that moment, that person really needs to find it. And I know that's hard it's easier to say than to do.
Right.
So.
But it's not impossible.
No, it's not impossible. I don't think so. I really don't. So it could be done.
Okay. So what does submission look like in 2018? Like, with a lot of career-driven women, that, you know, they got Beyonce empowered and stuff like that, but behind the scenes we don't get to see, you know, how successful she is at marriage, because she's still, I mean, she has to be, because she's still in it, you know.
Yeah,
and
she's still in it, and even though whatever, you know, they went through, he was like, I'm still here. I'm not gonna leave my wife.
Exactly.
And, you know, and she's like, well, I'm not gonna leave my husband. So
it has to be something. So what do you think submission looks like in 2018?
I think people,
to take away the negative connotation that it has on, like, where people think, like, you're supposed to walk behind your husband, you ain't supposed to say nothing.
I know, you bowing down, and
you bowing down. And we're not talking about peasant life. We talking about submission life, something God designed. So, what does it look like in 2018?
Let me see. I'm gonna try to explain this. I guess I look at it from your submission is more so. I think in 2018, it's more so, and it's on both sides.